Selenium WebDriver versus Protractor. What are all the differences between Selenium WebDriver versus Protractor, and what is the thing that we need to perform here? Okay, so let us consolidate the difference between Selenium WebDriver and Protractor, and we'll see what are all the advantages and disadvantages based on that, so that we'll get to know how we need to use this one. Okay, let me have one table here. Yeah, first thing is, first let me complete with cost wise. Insert table, factor is cost, and then let me have parameter. This one is heading parameter. Second heading is Selenium WebDriver. Third one is Protractor. First I am going to consider about cost. It is also open source. It is also open source. Both are open source tools. And next thing, IDE, programming interface, related to programming interface. For Selenium it is Eclipse, and for Protractor it is licensed WebStorm. We are calling that as a licensed WebStorm, but both are same. So let us see how we are going to have the scripting part. I'm going to add a few more. Yeah, second one IDE. After that, execution. In Selenium WebDriver, the execution depends upon XML, Maven, XML or nothing but batch file. Like that, it depends upon such type of files. But in Protractor, it depends upon the same thing: Maven, batch file, XML, or something like that. So the same thing here also in Protractor. Next thing, debugging. So the debugging in Selenium is very easy because of Java. It is very easy because of Java. But debugging in Protractor is very difficult, because we need to execute the commands through command prompt. We need to point that command with our program execution part and the class file name, everything, which is having some complicated process to execute the script. Next thing is technical skill. The person who is working with Selenium WebDriver should have knowledge on either Java or C# or any other programming language or scripting language, and then TestNG framework. And the person who works with Protractor should have knowledge on JavaScript, Node.js, which is nothing but Node JavaScript. Okay, like that we have framework. Let me list out the parameters here. Data driven, which is nothing but parameterization concept, and then reports, and then continuous integration tool, and then locators or elements, how we need to capture, and then recording option, and then platform, and then support management. At last, one more we can consider, mobile app support. So these are all the framework parameters that we need to consider. Coming to Selenium WebDriver, existing framework can be used, which is proven. So everyone is using TestNG framework, right, which is already available in the market. So nowadays, so that is the reason there is not that much difficulty in order to create the framework in Selenium WebDriver. But when coming to Protractor, very complex to create the framework. But we need to create the framework either using Jasmine or some other frameworks. Parameters also the same thing. We are going to pass the files from Excel or CSV or database or something like that. Need to configure plugins for external files. We are passing data from the external files, right? So that is the reason we need to have plugins. We need to have plugins. Here, this is somewhat complex in order to have parameterization. So why we are saying that for Protractor everything is hard, very difficult, complex, means it is all depending upon the AngularJS application, where it is some time taking process to capture the element. So that is the reason we are making these points. Don't worry about that, I'll make it as easy for that. And then reports, both reportings are easy. Here the report generation process would be depend upon Sauce Labs, and this depends upon TestNG libraries. Reports, continuous integration tool, we are going to have integration with Jenkins or some other Bamboo or GitHub or some other integration tools, but it is possible in both the cases. Both in Selenium WebDriver as well as Protractor cases it is possible. Sorry, I have written it in a reverse format. This will be TestNG, Selenium WebDriver. This will be Sauce Labs. saw slabs. In both the cases, continuous integration is possible. And next thing, locators are elements. Locators are element. We have enough locators and we have elements to find out, such as nothing but ID, CSS, XPath, link text, partial link text, tag name. Like that, 8 types of locators are there, which are enough to automate the complete project by using that. 8 locators are elements in Selenium WebDriver. Sufficient locators are available, but here in Protractor we have very less options. Why very less options? Why very less options means, generally, as we are saying that from day one onwards, Protractor deals with the AngularJS applications, and AngularJS applications are nothing but single page applications, where this single page applications will not have that many elements or that many objects individually, which is not maintained by the AngularJS. So that is the reason I said, like, alert messages, even it will not display the alert message in separate pop-up. It displays the same thing, same alert message on the window itself. So that is the reason we have very less options to find out the element names in Protractor, and we have sufficient options to find out the element names in Selenium WebDriver. In Selenium WebDriver, we have an IDE for recording option, but for Protractor, we don't have anything like that. No recording option. Platform, both supports all platforms. Both supports all the platforms. Next thing, support. We have sufficient support for Selenium WebDriver. If you get doubt, if you have any doubts in Selenium WebDriver, anyone can help you. But coming to the Protractor, there are very less options to have this support management. Very less people knows about this Protractor. Maybe nowadays it is going to be, it is popular, it is having some publicity and popularity. So that is the reason, for AngularJS application automation purpose, we have these Protractor tools, and we have these training sessions and all. So that is the reason it is it is having very less support comparatively with Selenium WebDriver. And Selenium WebDriver mobile devices compatibility. Using Appium, we can use Selenium WebDriver with Appium in order to automate mobile devices. Here in Protractor, it is not possible. Protractor in straightforward way, it is not possible. Maybe if we are going to integrate with some other things or some other programs or any other scripting languages, maybe it will be possible, but in a straightforward way, it will not support. I think you understood the points. So let me have few more things on Selenium WebDriver and Protractor, so that I'll close this topic now. Selenium WebDriver. Multiple language support by the Selenium. There are multiple languages support by the Selenium. It may be programming, or it may be scripting, or any other programming or scripting languages. It is having multiple options. Okay. And second thing, some cases can be possible to automate AngularJS applications, but here, but there will be lot of issues while runtime or execution time. While runtime or execution time, there may be a lot of issues. So the issues are related to synchronization issues, sync issues. So sync may not work for some time, so sync may work for some time. So that is the reason, that is the main drawback of Selenium WebDriver, where it is not allowing us to automate. And one more thing is, Selenium WebDriver always deals with the element names, but here in the AngularJS applications or single page applications, it is somewhat complicated process to find out the element names, as those are single page applications. Only one web page will be there where everything can be monitored by using that web page. So that is the reason, if this is perfect, then we can automate Selenium AngularJS applications with Selenium WebDriver also. Due to this drawback only, we are not using Selenium WebDriver for AngularJS applications. Okay, next thing is Protractor. Next thing is Protractor. So it is supports to JavaScript only. Already we have written this in the table, JavaScript only. So we must have some knowledge on JavaScript, what is happening there. And next thing is, it is also having the same thing like AngularJS applications it supports, but there are less options to find out the element names, but it can be manageable by using Protractor. It can be manageable by using Protractor. Any doubts? So if you have any doubts, you can raise a question in the chat box. Yeah, I'll continue with that. The next thing is, how to design the basic scripts in Selenium WebDriver. So basic scripts in Selenium WebDriver and how the architecture follows in Protractor. We will discuss that concept now. Architecture of Protractor. Architecture of Protractor automation tool. So for this, I am going to take Paint to have some architecture. So just this is a brief part of architecture, how it is dealing with. So give me a moment, I am having this Don't get any confusion. I'll explain you how it is going to react, how it is going to work. This is what our protractor architecture defines about. So how it is going to deal with, and what are all the things that we need to consider in order to automate this particular AngularJS application by using Protractor. Let us discuss about this. Here there are multiple frameworks that have been mentioned here: Jasmine, Mocha, Cucumber. TestNG is somewhat more complex in order to use it in Protractor. So that is the reason we are not going to completely prefer the TestNG framework. Yesterday, someone asked me a question: does TestNG support to Protractor or not? I said it will support, but there may be a lot of issues when we are trying to have the TestNG to Protractor. So that is the reason we have multiple options to have the data driven point, and to have the report generation point and everything. So here in Node.js I have been mentioned Cucumber, Mocha and Jasmine. Either you can select Mocha or Jasmine or Cucumber. For our reference, I am going to select with Jasmine framework. If it is Cucumber, it is a behavior driven framework where we are going to point that behavior driven framework to our protractor. But whatever the framework that you have been selected in Node.js, that should be in a JavaScript programming language only. That should be in a JavaScript programming language only. Okay, here WebDriver JS, WebDriver script, and then Protractor. Two things are there. Two things are one after the other. But why we have been mentioned Protractor immediately about the WebDriver JavaScript only? So directly, in order to have the script, automation script directly, framework script directly, and we are passing the script directly to WebDriver, then it is very complicated for the WebDriver to understand what type of script that you have been written. So that is the reason, in order to convert the script to Node.js script, Protractor will helps us to convert the Jasmine script to WebDriver 1 to understand and to execute this WebDriver part. So that is the reason Protractor is simply immediately on the above WebDriver script only. So this is specially designed. In this architecture, Protractor is specially designed for Angular based applications only. So that is the reason immediate to WebDriver JS, sorry, immediate to Protractor, we have WebDriver JS. Here, WebDriver script. So let's say, for example, if it is non-Angular JS application, if it is non-Angular application, then if it is non-Angular JS application, means simply we can write the test scripts in WebDriver itself. Simply we can write the test scripts in WebDriver itself. So as I said, in this particular differences, we have one concept called language. I said like all language it supports, but coming to uh, Protractor, it supports only JavaScript. Yes, here the point is. Here, multiple language support means it supports Java, C Sharp, Perl, Python, Ruby, PHP, JavaScript. Even Selenium WebDriver supports JavaScript, but not Angular JavaScript, which are related to single page applications. So that is the point that we need to remember here. In this architecture, I have been mentioned that WebDriver JS and Protractor. Protractor helps us to automate Angular JS application. WebDriver helps us to automate non-Angular JS application. So that is the reason we have mentioned WebDriver JS also here. Whatever the thing that we have been stated here, it will be pointed to Selenium. As we know that Selenium WebDriver directly communicates with the browser, it doesn't interact with server or something else. So that is the reason browser interaction is very important. Here we have been mentioned with Chrome driver, or here we mentioned with Selenium WebDriver. It may be Firefox, or it may be IE, or any other drivers. So specifically Chrome browser means don't worry about that. Just I have mentioned only one driver which is related to Chrome browser. If you want to change it, you can change it. Whatever the thing that you are following, at last that is a Selenium point. Let me have that understanding first. So I am going to cover these two things now. Observe it carefully. And this is nothing but Selenium, I can say. This complete set of this Chrome driver along with Selenium WebDriver and browser driver is nothing but Selenium. Means Node.js directly interacts with the Selenium, and Selenium executes the script through browser. If it is AngularJS application, then Protractor involved in that. If it is non-AngularJS application, then WebDriver.js can be involved into this particular execution part. So that is the main thing of architecture, where we are going to have this Protractor in our configuration part, Node.js. Node.js. I hope you understood this concept. So here multiple frameworks are there. Those multiple frameworks can be automated by using Node.js. But coming to Selenium, here we are going to write the scripts in JavaScript, but not on single page applications. So that is the reason I have been mentioned WebDriver JavaScript. Let's go to the next thing, sample WebDriver script. So today I'm going to write the sample WebDriver script in a notepad. Tomorrow we'll have an interface for the execution part, and we'll see how the configuration file, how the protractor configuration file execute. Okay, so what is that? We will use Mocha and Jasmine at a time in single framework. No, we are going to use either Jasmine or Mocha. Anyone, not both. So you heard about Mocha. Yes, test driven framework. Yes, that is right. But Jasmine is the regular framework what we are being used in the market, right? Okay, we will discuss at the end of the session whether we can continue with Jasmine or Mocha. We'll discuss about that. Okay, we will discuss about that, and we will have that conclusion part whether we can go ahead with Jasmine or Mocha. So as of now, fix with uh, Jasmine only, and then if time permits, or if you are going to start with Mocha, we will check it once. Okay, yeah. So just I am going to write the sample script. Sample protractor script. So I'll write this sample script, and after that just we'll talk about the particular script, and we will discuss on that. Okay, generally in Selenium WebDriver, to open the URL, we used to have driver.get or driver.navigate to or driver.forward or driver.backward. Like that, we used to call the URL in Selenium WebDriver. But coming to Protractor, there will not be that much complication in order to open the browser and enter the URL. So I am going to start with URL entry part and then we'll see. So here, open the URL. So here the syntax would be browser dot get. We are going to mention the URL here. Sorry, it is only single quotations. Browser B should be small dot get. We need to place the URL, and then next thing is enter username, element of by dot. We have multiple locators here, so just for our reference I am using model. We will discuss about this locators even. So here I am going to give the model list dot text dot send keys of test script. Next thing, click on save button. Here we are going to use element by dot id of any id we can enter, save underscore btn. This is also a single quotations only, not double quotations. This is the logic behind Protractor. We are going to click on that. This is a predefined one. So here I have a list. I want to select a value from the list. I have a drop down, and in the drop down I need to select a value from the drop down. So here I am going to have var list is equals to element dot all by dot repeater list. I'm going to use this function, use this one, list dot texts expect list dot count dot to equal of 3. Next thing, expect list dot get of 2 dot get text, this one dot to equal of some text you need to mention here, some text you need to mention here. That's it, we can close. This is just a sample syntax that I have written. Don't worry, we'll start from the initial step onwards. Here the program here the program starts with such type of functions. Here to open the URL, we are going to use browser.getURL so that it will open the URL into the browser, and then we have a list box over there where we are going to have this one element dot by model list.text send keys, means it to this particular list we are trying to capture this one. So for that reference we are sending one text and then click on save button. To click on save button we need to capture the element name and we need to click on that one, and I forgot to mention the semicolon. And next thing, there is a drop down in that particular screen where I want to select the second value or third value from the drop down. So here basically this var list explains about how many elements are there in that particular, to capture how many elements are there in that particular drop down. And the second statement will give the count of the values, how many values are there in the drop down. Let's say for example it is expecting the values to be minimum 3 values, minimum 3 values. If there are 3 values in the drop down, the list count will be 3. After capturing the list count, then we need to select the second value. That second value must be equal to the text what I have been mentioned. If both are not equal, then simply it is going to fail the script. Once you have designed the script, at last you need to close with flower brackets and then closed parenthesis using semicolon. This is the way that we need to design the script. But coming to Selenium WebDriver, there are a lot of things that you need to create here. You need to open the WebDriver driver is equals to new Firefox driver, and then driver dot get URL, and then driver dot navigate, and then using some action, username, password, all these things that we need to capture. So that is the reason protractor scripting design time is somewhat less when compared to Selenium WebDriver script designing part. Due to lot of keywords in Selenium WebDriver, there are very less keywords in Protractor. Yeah, these 3 lines. Okay, so var list in the sense meaning variable list, variable list. Generally the word list will be used for the drop down values. The word list will be used for the drop down values. In that list, first I am capturing how many texts are there in that particular drop down. Just I am capturing, I am not going to get any count from the application. Just for the sake of how many records that the script is to be executed, just I am using the option called repeater, and I am going to have how many texts are there in that particular drop down. Once I capture, once I get to know these many texts are there in the drop down, then I am capturing the count. I am capturing the count in the drop down. Drop down means list here. So in the drop down, I am expecting the minimum values to be 3. At least 3 values should be there in that particular drop down. Out of that 3 values, I am saying to select second value, get of 2. Second value, get text, capture the text, and that captured text must be equal to the text what you have been mentioned here. If both are equal, whatever the text captured from this method and whatever the text that you have on the screen, if both are equal, then immediately the script is going to be success. Do you understand? Thank you. Any other questions? Yes. So today I'm going to stop till now.